Hey, what's up? It's your man, Greg Merriweather. And today I'm doing something different. So, hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm excited about this because this came by way of a conversation that I was having with someone who I consider a friend. We were talking about fathers and men and how conversation came to be. And it made me think about just male leadership, male voices, and how we're heard in our community, or if we're heard in our community at all. And so I wanted to come on and really talk about it for a brief minute because I think that there's something that has happened over the course of time that has caused us not to be able to hear strong male leadership. And I think it's come by way of just, a lot of different things. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about it. We're going to chop it up for about 30 minutes. I'm excited about this. So hopefully, when y'all come on, we can have a good time about it. So let's get ready. Let's have some time with the Unmitigated Truth. Let's go. All right, man. So welcome to the Unmitigated Truth. I'm your host, Greg Merriweather. Man, this is gonna be interesting. So today's topic, this is why is it so difficult for many people in the Black community to recognize Black male leadership? Why is it that when a Black man speaks with authority, confidence, structure, and discipline, he's immediately labeled angry, controlling, arrogant, or even aggressive? I want y'all to think on those things, okay? Why are we constantly saying there are no Black leaders while simultaneously rejecting, questioning, and attacking the very men who attempt to lead? Now, before people start getting emotional, let's make this crystal clear. This is not an attack on Black women, not at all. I'll say it again. This is not an attack on Black women. Black women have carried this community for generations. Black women have held households together, protected children, worked multiple jobs, prayed over families, and sacrificed in ways many people will never understand. But two things can be true at the same time. Black women being strong does not erase the consequences of Black men being absent. And we have talked about what happens when generations grow up without seeing healthy, masculine leadership in homes, in schools, in churches, in neighborhoods, and in business. Because if you've never seen it, how do you recognize it? If you've only seen survival, how do you understand structure? If chaos becomes normal, then discipline starts to feel offensive. Let's say that again. If chaos becomes normal, then discipline starts to feel offensive. And that's the unmitigated truth. So let's start with segment one, the misunderstanding of male authority. Let's talk about something that no one wants to talk about. A lot of people today confuse masculine authority with anger. So in this conversation, it was like, man, Merriweather is always angry, Merriweather is always tripping, Merriweather is always mad, all those types of things. And what got me, it kind of got me because I said, heck, when the camera goes off, I'm chilling. I have no issue, no problem, no nothing. And then I thought about just I don't want to just call it hate, I'll call it misunderstanding. So then I thought about all the misunderstandings that I have with men, the misunderstandings that I have with women. And it made me kind of step back and say, something's off, something's wrong. And at that point, it made me say, you know what, it's time to put something together. So a man can speak directly, firmly, confidently, and immediately people want to say, why is he yelling? Why is he so aggressive? Why he acting like that? But the reality is, many people have never consistently experienced healthy masculinity. A father corrects differently than a mother. A father leads differently than a mother. A father protects differently than a mother. That doesn't make one better than the other. They are different by design. Men are often solution driven, meaning, hey, I'm always trying to right the ship. I'm always trying to figure out which direction to go. Men, for the people who know me, men are often structured. Men often communicate with fewer emotional cushions. So a lot of times people say, man, you sound abrasive, you sound rough. I'm like, I'm just to the point. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I'm none of the above. I just don't have the emotional cushions that most people are used to hearing. But in society, where many young people were raised almost exclusively by women, masculine communication can sound foreign. I want y'all to think on that. So when a man walks in with authority, standards, expectations, and accountability, people don't always interpret that as leadership. They interpret it as hostility. And let's be honest, some people only like leadership when it feels soft, agreeable, and non-confrontational. But leadership sometimes requires correction. Leaders sometimes require saying no. Leadership sometimes requires discipline. Every coach that ever made you better corrected you. Every mentor that ever elevated you challenged you. Every parent that truly loves you disciplined you. But now we live in a culture where correction feels like disrespect. The mentality is destroying our communities. And I want y'all to think about this stuff, because quite often I hear so many people just really are like, man, this disturbs me, or I turn you off simply because it sounds like you're yelling at me. I turn you off because it sounds aggressive. Oh, Greg Merriweather's just mad at so much. And I've realized that, dang, these people didn't have fathers. The vast majority of people I'm talking to didn't have a father. So therefore, I sound foreign. I sound rough. I sound mean. I sound abrasive. And the truth is, all I'm sounding like is a man. Someone who actually cares. Someone who is actually trying to help you move forward. And the sad part about it is, we don't know nothing about it. So the absence of a father and its impact. We cannot talk about the issue without discussing fatherlessness. This ain't about blame. This is about consequences. When boys grow up without their fathers, many struggle to understand manhood. Can you imagine what it's like when you don't have a father and the only person that's ever giving you correction is your mother? And as you get bigger, the correction gets louder. And as you get stronger, the correction gets louder. And what happens when the correction is louder and you bigger and stronger, and realize that you can hit me, you can yell at me, you can this. I'm a man at this point. It don't bother me. It just doesn't bother me. And heaven forbid, it's not in our minds to do anything to our mothers, but in our minds, we like, you can't whoop me. That's all a part of being manhood. And the sad point is the absenteeism of fathers has caused mass confusion. Young men began learning manhood from rap lyrics, social media influences, gangs, culture, street politics, and emotionally immature men. A lot of these dudes is running a lot of these programs didn't have a father. But then they get your kid and start trying to teach them how to be men. And the only time they ever learned about being a man or heard about a man is a complaint that their mother had about their father. As a person who grew up with great uncles, I think I probably can't count on both hands. My father was one of 12. I remember I had both of my grandfathers. One was in Tennessee, one was here. I had all my grandmother's brothers. They almost lived, most of them lived close to me, 80 and beyond. So I'm used to being around men who gave guidance, who gave correction, who didn't just let me run amok, who told me to get up out the room when adults was talking, who didn't allow me to participate in adult conversations, who did not ask me for my opinion because they had lived life long enough to where they said, man, I ain't got to ask you on how to get to 60. I'm trying to help you. Now, all of a sudden, we got a whole reverse psychology where you got people who are coming into our culture who is telling us to listen to the kids. And the crazy thing is I've had this conversation multiple times when I say, okay, so I got to look at my son and tell him to wash his face, brush his teeth, brush his hair. Did he put on deodorant? Do he got on clean underwear? Do he got on clean socks? Did he do his homework? And some culture somewhere has invaded Black culture and said, listen to your kids. And I'm steady trying to figure out how did that come into play? And it's crazy. Like, even when I look at this right now, I love the fact, I'm loving the fact that there are people who are making the decision not to listen. Because those same people will turn around and need your help with their son. Those same people will turn around and put a kid in a program with someone who has no idea how to raise a man, has no idea what it's like to have to stand down to someone who is bigger and stronger than you. I had to do that with my dad. I had to do that with my uncles. So when an actual disciplined man appears, people don't know how to process him. When a man who says, be accountable, handle your responsibilities, control your emotions, have structure, have discipline, that man suddenly becomes intimidating because he challenges dysfunction. And dysfunction hates structure. Let's say this again. Dysfunction hates structure. That's why some communities celebrate entertainers more than builders. That's why we elevate drama over discipline. That's why some people can spot a rapper instantly, but can't identify a leader standing in front of them. And I hate it. I hate it when I hear the conversations, when I hear people say, we don't have any leaders in our community. And you don't have to like me, but I hear people say it all the time. We don't have leaders in our community. And I say, I get up every single day attempting to make this place better. And then having to walk the walk, I have to get up and be this person. I have to get up and say, if I say something about correcting people, then I got to work on correcting me. I can't be out all night and having good times all the time because I have responsibilities. And we look and people don't know how to manage money, don't know how to manage a household. And we always talk about these kids don't have nothing to do. But they don't have the structure of a man. So all of a sudden, since they don't have the structure of a man, we look and say they don't have anything to do. The last thing I ever wanted to hear my father say was, let me find something for you to do. If you ain't got nothing to do, let me find something for you to do. Because it almost always meant I was about to get to work. And I'm just looking at us, and we don't know leaders when we see them. We don't realize that there's somebody. I get up. I've had meetings with people that you all believe are powerful, and I only have those meetings on behalf of us. I've only had those meetings on behalf of us. I had a meeting today with someone that is deemed powerful. And I only had those meetings on behalf of us. I don't sit in there and say, hey, let's figure out how a way to make Greg Merriweather get paid. I sit in those meetings and say, what is it that we can do? How is it that we can better? How is it we can build? What is this over here that's prohibiting this from happening? Who are you empowering to make sure that we're covered? What does this look like in your vote? What does this look like when you get on the microphone? Who's beside you? Who's behind you? Who's working with you? All those questions come into play when I sit with people. And so I'm asking us, if you don't know what, it's crazy. If you don't know what a good leader looks like, if you've never had anybody in your house that led you other than your mother, then seeing a man lead is something you've never seen. I always hear people say what a good man is without ever having the example of a good man. Anybody that knows that a man, if you want a man who is able to take care of a household, then you want a busy man. If he's a busy man and can take care of you, himself, and your children and at home, know this, he's busy. So him being in your face, it's not going to happen. And then you get mad because the busy man don't have time to be laying around. But all these things come by way of you not seeing it. It's like you want to take the trips, you want to do this, but you don't realize he got to work. You don't realize he's going to be tired some days. You don't realize that his job is to protect and to provide. And when I say protect and provide, I don't mean hold just everything, but he's the leader of it. My father was everything from, and he may not have gone and got the groceries, but he made sure that they was rationed out. He made sure that the grass was cut. He made sure that the snow was shoveled. He made sure that the leaves was raked. He made sure that the gutters was cleaned. So when I look at all this stuff, and for some odd reason, here's what happened. Government came in, paid citizens, put the man out. Here's the other thing you realize. They've paid our sister so much that she can pay for the man that she won't have, but she can pay to get the things done that a man can do. Most women have lawn care services. Most women have someone to come and shovel their snow. Most women have the warranty in their home so someone can fix it, all while realizing that you might need one. But since you can afford the things that he does, then it makes you think he's not necessary. Don't sound good. Don't sound good. Don't sound good, but it's real. Don't sound good, but it's real. So let's say why Black leaders are often rejected. Let's go a little deeper. So historically, Black leadership has always been attacked. Strong Black men who spoke with conviction were called dangerous. Malcolm X was called dangerous. Martin Luther King Jr. was called dangerous. Fred Hampton was called dangerous. A strong Black man with influence has always made people uncomfortable. I realize my influence. The sad part about it is I realize that it has made Black people uncomfortable. So but now something else has happened. We have internalized that discomfort ourselves. Now Black people attack Black leadership before outsiders even get a chance to. I get more attacked by Black people for defending Black people than white people. More Black people attack me than any white people. And the crazy thing, I've said this 1,000 times. I said, what are they mad about other than the fact I fight for them? They're mad because I hold them accountable. They're mad because I talk about structure. They're mad because I talk about discipline. And the crazy point is, I'll get on the phone with somebody today and they will say, ain't no Black leaders. And I'll be like, the devil is a lie. All day. So now Black people attack Black leadership before outsiders even get a chance to. We question every motive. We tear down every strong voice. We criticize every imperfect leader. And what's crazy is when you realize that 80% of the church is women, and then you realize that they criticize Black leaders. And I'm like, if you were in the church, then you realize that God picked imperfect men for a perfect mission. He never said the only perfect one was Christ. So when it was all said and done, he's like, nah, he gonna take it this far, then he gonna take it this far, then he gonna take it all the way. My job is not perfection. It is to attempt to be the best man I can be every day. And the crazy thing about that is that only comes by way of challenging. That only comes by way of speaking discipline. Because when I speak it to y'all, I'm speaking it to me. When I'm like, this is the way to go, I firmly believe it. So therefore, I have to get up and walk it. And it ain't an easy thing to do. And the crazy thing about it is, what happens with men who are actually strong Black leaders, all of a sudden you can't be outside as much. Because when you're outside as much, people get to experience the human side of you. And when they experience the human side of you, then they criticize you for being human. I live it. I experience it all the time. That's why I choose to go to certain places. Because I know that if I go out some places, somebody gonna grab their phone and try to film me. Somebody gonna watch and see this. Somebody gonna look and see this. The crazy thing is, I just had this conversation. There are so many rumors about me that I'm just blown away by. I was just on the phone today. I said, here's the rumors about Greg Merriweather. It says, I'm angry, gay, broke, and homeless. Look around. I'm angry, gay, broke, and homeless. And I'm like, the wildest stuff ever. Because I stand for something. Because I've never disrespected the women that I've dated and put them online. Because I don't go around boasting about the money I've made. And let's be honest, and I'll say this real quick. Only 79% of all Black people make $100,000 a year. I have fallen into that category for a long period of time. We can see that I'm not homeless. I was married 20 years. I have 2 beautiful children and a grandson. So when it's all said and done, these people, all of a sudden, because you stand for something, you stand for leadership, you stand for discipline, you stand for orderliness, you stand for all this, all of a sudden what happens is once you stop being outside, all they can do is create. And this is for someone who stands up every single day for Black people. Every single day. And because social media, everybody thinks leadership is supposed to look polished, politically correct, and perfectly curated. Real leadership is messy. Real leadership requires sacrifice. Real leadership requires unpopular decisions. Sometimes a leader has to say things people don't want to hear. That's why I say it. Because that's real leadership. Because I don't mind telling you that you got a booger in your nose or something in your eye or something in your teeth. That's real leadership. Because we fail to realize that real leadership looks at you and says, I want you to be right, so therefore I have to tell you the truth. I can't dance around it. How do I dance around loving you? How do I dance around it and say I love you and I don't tell you the truth? How is it that I can walk away knowing that you're not your best and still say that I want success for you? That's not leadership. That's not being a stand-up man. Some people don't actually want leadership. They want comfort. A leader, there's a difference because a leader challenges you. A performer entertains you. The same performance. A performer entertains you. And many communities are choosing entertainment over elevation. Notice this, and this is no diss to nobody. We call concerts putting on for the city. You brought everybody together, my guy. You brought us a concert, and then everybody got to go back home broke. Everybody got to go back home to their struggle. Look at Look at all the stuff that's getting put together for Black people. The fact of the matter is most of it is centered behind entertaining you. What's up with the free concert? What's up with this concert? Instead of Expo opening something, they just had an open house. And it was about dancing. It was about entertainment. It was about music. It was about everything, but not about building, not about business, not about ownership. It was about entertainment. Look at who we uplift the most, the entertainers. Look at who we hold in high regard, the entertainers. If an entertainer had the same message that I had, I would be as rich as them. If I had that message and was somebody famous, I'd be the baddest on the planet. But people get mad when I say it's just a concert. What'd you get from it? Are you smarter? Are you better? Are you richer? Is your knowledge advancing? Did it put food on the table? Or did you just sit around and get entertained and go right back to the same conditions and call it something great? I'm not, my father, you say it all the time, I'm not here, I'm not your entertainment. And I get it now. How am I supposed to be your entertainment while trying to elevate you? How is it that I got to tell you everything you need to do to survive this mean world, and all I'm doing is having fun with you? And that's how I know when people, it's crazy. When all you hear people say about our kids is they ain't got nothing to do. We need to open a club for the kids. We need to have this. We need to have fun. And I'm like, they don't know their daddy. So my daddy would have never said that. My mom would have never said that. My parents used to say, they were like this, hey, if you bored, I'll find something to do. And then they say boring people have boring minds. Because we were the creative generation. We created. And now I look and people just want to have fun. So the next part is how do we fix it? So what do we do moving forward? First, we have to restore the values of fathers. I'll say that again. First, we have to restore the value of fathers. Not just financially present fathers. Because I know at one point I thought giving child support was fatherhood. It wasn't. I missed out on a lot of my daughter's life because I said, I pay a whole lot of money. And I realized that my presence was the present, not the money. And I regret that. So not just financially present fathers, emotionally present fathers, mentally present fathers, spiritually present fathers. Most women would not be able to get preyed upon by some pimp in a pulpit if their fathers was there to teach them differently. This is real. Most men would not be able to take advantage of certain women if their fathers were there to protect them from it. Most of these dudes wouldn't be walking around with guns and in fear and doing crazy stuff if their fathers were present. Your father will tell you that's going to get you killed. Your father will tell you that's going to send you to prison. Your father will tell you you're about to fail on that one. But at the same time, your father will say, you could fail, but then I got you. Let's figure this out. That can be fixed. That's not the end of the world. We need Black men mentoring boys again, coaching, teaching, leading again. Second, we have to stop demonizing masculinity every time it appears. We have got to stop demonizing masculinity whenever it appears. We call it toxic masculinity when a man stands up and he arches his back and puts his shoulders back and says, this is how it's going down. And we say that's toxic. This Negro think he really leading something. Let me dismantle it. But here's the bad part. When the results come, you realize that he was right. When the results come, you realize he was necessary. So many people, we look in our community and realize we can look and say, that boy must have had his father. It's an ongoing joke in the NBA. I sat next to a father at an NBA game, and we were sitting in the suite. And at the time, this father, his son, was playing for the Portland Trailblazers. And Tyrese Halliburton's father was coming past the suite, and they started talking. And Tyrese Halliburton's father said, every time the media gets in there, they only want to talk about the mothers. And he said, do you realize when she was taking them to practice every single day and this and the other, what you think I was doing? And I was listening. He said, I was going to work. I was making sure the household was intact. I was making sure they was eating. I was making sure the lights was on. I was making sure the uniforms could be bought. I was making sure he had the shoes. I was making sure he could travel. But nobody wants to talk about that. Why? It's funny because it's a joke in the NBA when they say we the guys with fathers. When you think about the Michael Jordans, when you think about the Kobe Bryants, when you think about the Magic Johnsons, when you think about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when you think about all the dudes who had their fathers, and you wonder how they made it through, and they didn't lose all their money, and they wasn't that, and even if they had women, they didn't lose it all because they had a guide, a protector, someone to say, listen, man, I know, and this is crazy. I remember going to school as a college basketball player. I remember before I got in that car to go away, I remember getting in the dorm or in the place and my father walking back in. And the craziest thing, and this sounds crazy, is he handed me a box of condoms. Not in front of my mama. He walked back in and handed them to me. Because he's like, you're about to embark on something that you've never embarked on before. You're a college basketball player, and the chance of you having little girls running in and out of here are probably great. But what I'm going to do is tell you, don't make no babies. That came from my dad. And so when I think about this stuff where we get all mad about men who speak up, who speak out, who talk discipline, who talk order, we call it toxic. I call it he's saving our damn lives. He's making us better. So we got to stop demonizing masculinity. Every strong man is not toxic. Every authoritative voice is not abusive. And every disciplined man is not controlling. Third, we must teach our children how to identify healthy leadership. Let's talk about it. Leadership is not just charisma. Leadership is consistency. I do this regularly. So much so you know it. Leadership is sacrifice. No one makes me do this. I give it. Leadership is responsibility, knowing that I have to take care of everything. Leadership is accountability. I have to walk it. And the last thing we need is balance. Children honestly need mothers and fathers. Communities actually need nurturing and structure. Communities need compassion and accountability. A bird can't fly with one wing. It needs them both. So before we leave this today, I want people to really think about this conversation honestly. Seriously. Maybe the issue isn't that Black leadership doesn't exist. Maybe the issue is that generations of trauma, dysfunction, and survival have distorted what leadership looks like to us. So when leadership finally shows up, We mistake it for anger. We mistake it for arrogance. We mistake it for arrogance. We mistake it for aggression. But sometimes a man speaking with authority is simply a man being a man. Just because you don't know it, don't mean it's not true. I see you, Pamela, like spending all that money to see Beyonce and Usher. What did that do for you? You can't pay rent or bills for that moment of performance. Invest in your future, whether it be financial or academically. I agree. Maybe, just maybe, if we restore healthy masculinity, healthy fatherhood, healthy leadership in our communities, we can begin rebuilding what has been broken for generations. This conversation won't make everybody comfortable. It won't, and I know it. I know exactly what I'm facing by even saying it. But comfort has never changed community. You know what does? The truth. The truth is what changes communities. So when I say this, I mean it. We got to start being honest. We got to be honest if we don't know what it's like to have a father. We got to be honest and stop turning off and being turned off because someone is giving you structure. We got to stop turning it off because someone speaks a level of discipline. We got to stop turning it off because someone is willing to not cut corners to save your life. That's all I got, man. I want us to be better. I want us to be better. We got to do a better job, because if we don't, man, we're going to continue failing. That's all I got. And that's the unmitigated truth. So I'm going to ask y'all, man, share this video. I need y'all to go to YouTube to subscribe to the Unmitigated Truth YouTube page. Okay? We got to make this build. And when the rubber meets the road, this is leadership. It's leadership in your face. Because y'all have no idea the people that I have to face every day. The people who would rather me shut up. The people who would rather, there's so many people who probably love to see me be done. But I show up. I'm consistent. I'm about this. So share the video, subscribe to the YouTube page, and we'll be back again. Y'all know I love y'all. It's 317 all day. This has been the Unmitigated Truth. Y'all have an amazing day. Know I love y'all. Peace.